Are you ready to take inspired action? Welcome to Stop Waiting, Start Living with me, Julie Jones, as I talk to my guests who, against all odds, continue to rise up over and over again to live their life out loud. Welcome, Marie, to the show. I'm so excited to have you here.
Oh, well, thank you for having me. I am supremely joyful to be sitting here with you today. Thank you.
Oh my gosh. Well, I know today happens to be a very special day for you in your journey, and I would love for you to share a little bit about your story and why today matters so much.
Oh, today matters. So, I gave birth to 2 children, and I only have 1 surviving child. Today is that child's birthday. It's 12 years ago, I came home and found that he had passed away. And so what you see today is the person who's moved forward from all of that. And he would be 28 years old today. Yeah.
And what's his name?
His name is Jonathan. Sorry, Jonathan Michael Smith.
Yes, and I'm sure Jonathan is with us here today.
Oh, absolutely. He's proven it many times since I've been here.
Yes, and so with that in life, and I can only imagine the heartbreak. I mean, can you share a little bit about, as a mother, and coming home and finding that situation and how that stopped you in your tracks?
Well, we could back up a little bit more. Your mother's intuition, you hear about mother's intuition a lot, right? Well, I had been texting him. He stayed home from school sick. And I had been texting him and he didn't answer me. And when I got off work, I was driving home, and before I hit the bottom of the exit ramp, I knew that he was gone. And then when I got home, and the dog met me at the door. And I thought, okay, please let this be that he has gone somewhere he's not supposed to be and that he's not home. Because, right, the dog only greets you when there's no one there. And so then I found him that day. It does stop you in your tracks. And the ache, it's like a stabbing that you go through. But I remember, after I made all the phone calls, the shock. You kind of just stop. The world stops for you in those moments. And you think to yourself, is this what it's going to be like for me the rest of my life? And the next morning, when I woke up, I made a choice. I could choose to be the woman who never moves forward. I could choose to be the woman that people whisper about, oh, that's Marie. She lost her son, and she hasn't been the same since. Or I could recognize that he was a beautiful gift, and I had him for 16 years, and recognize and know that he chose me when he came down here to be his mom. And then I would just celebrate his life. Now, does that mean that I don't have grief sometimes? Well, it comes and goes. You know, today's his birthday, but I want it to be a celebration. I don't ever want to be stuck in sadness, and I know that he doesn't want me to be stuck in sadness either. So it's okay to not be sad, even when the people are not here anymore.
Right, because
Yeah.
I believe that they're always still with us.
Absolutely.
Like, I believe that my parents are with me, especially, you know, on this big journey for myself. And when I think about you and your son, and I know that you say that he still comes, like, usually around the birthday
Yeah.
and visits you, right? Like, there
Yeah.
are certain things that he does or certain things that happen. Do you want to share some of those, like some of the signs that you still know that he's with you?
Every year. And he was a prankster. He had a really great sense of humor. He was just amazing. And I have this frame. After he died, we bought an electronic frame, and we loaded all the pictures that people sent us, you know, from around the world. And this frame has programmable backgrounds on it where you can make it just the pictures all there, or the back says Merry Christmas or I love you, Mom, or those kind of things. Well, every year since his birthday is in August, at some point in August, I will wake up in the morning and the frame will say Happy Birthday. And it's only for 24 hours, and it's never been on the same day, and it's very random. And when I walk by, I just giggle and I tell him, thank you so much. I love you too. Thank you for being here with me. And so that's kind of the trigger. When I walk by the frame, I always tell him I love him. There's another thing he likes to do. He and his brother played airsoft a lot. His favorite color is green. And so a lot of times we will find little airsoft BBs around the house where there never was a BB, and he's been gone for 12 years, so it's not like they were embedded in the carpet, right? And it'll just be sitting there on the carpet when you walk through, and I just always say thank you, and I love you too. What's going on with you?
Right.
And we have conversations. Yeah.
So why did you not let that stop you? Like, where in your thought process was it that you decided, okay, this could hold me back for the rest of my life, or I can choose to move on? And I know that that was a choice, because everybody faces those choices when something tragic happens in their life. So what was that process like for you?
It's a really good question. I don't think anyone's ever asked me that. Well, I remember thinking, how awesome would it be if I could just crawl in a ball and stay there, right? If I could just assume the fetal position and never come out, that would be pretty cool. But you know what? I'm not like that. I've never been one of those people that's just going to give up and roll over. And I know that I have a purpose on this planet. And I knew that if I let that defeat me, I would never be able to serve that purpose, whether I was serving it small or on the bigger stage like we're doing today. And so I was just determined that I wasn't going to let it beat me. Now, it took me a little while. Of course, you lose a child, it's not overnight, and you never get over it. You just learn to live in your new normal. And so I decided that my new normal would be pretty awesome.
And it is awesome because you have a lot of exciting things that you are moving forward with. So let's get into a little bit about what you are doing with your life, like what direction you started moving towards. And what's Marie Dubois up to these days?
Well, my whole life I've been a healer. I've been one of those people, and when I say healer, what I mean is I take everything that I go through and I self-realize, and then I move through it and I just evolve from it, right? And I don't hold you accountable for those things. Well, I'll hold you accountable, but anyway. So I've always been one of those people. I was standing in line at the grocery store, and she might saunter up, and while we're waiting, whoever she is will tell me her whole life story. And people have just always gravitated towards me. And so I've always been one of those healing people. Well, I was doing that in a corporate environment for 30 years. I gave my life to corporate life. And there's nothing wrong with that, because corporate and the people at that job got me through losing my son. They were able to support me when I was a single mom, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I was serving it on such a small stage. I was doing it for the people that I worked with, the same company for 13 years. And so then I just started to realize and evolve. And it really started when Jonathan died, I think. I stood beside him in his casket, and we had watched shows like The Ghost Whisperer and those types of things. And so I just invited him to come and see me. And so in that moment, I knew I would need to develop my intuition and develop all of the amazing spiritual gifts that have been given to me so that I could hear him and see him. And that has turned into something that's amazing.
Right. And so you have a business, and let's just touch upon your business, how people would connect with you, because in the next segment, we're going to go deeper into how you help and serve people as well. But what is your website? How do people get a hold of you if they're looking to connect with you, Marie?
Well, they can just go straight to mysticalmarie.com.
Mysticalmarie.com. I love that. I love that. Well, and when we return back to our next segment of the show, we're really going to delve more deeper into the idea of having a bigger platform, right? Because this was really a call to action and a call to courage for you to be on the television show. I remember when we had the conversation, and you told me that today was your son's birthday, but you said yes before we even talked about that I was taping today and it was your son's birthday, and I believe nothing happens by chance, and I still get goosebumps. So we'll be right back on the next episode.
Are you traveling long-term internationally? Moving to another country? How's your furry family member going to get there? You won't be able to just buy them a plane ticket. There's a whole series of processes and red tape that no one wants to sift through. You need a partner. You need Doggone Taxi. We take the confusion and headache out of moving your pet to your new country. We take care of the shipping, the fees, the health permits, and anything else that your destination country requires. Visit doggonetaxi.com and get your free move quote today. That's doggonetaxi.com.
As a business consultant and a qualified counsellor, I have heard every possible scenario under the sun. Let's move away from what if and ask, what else can my business be doing to create real impact? Our personal fears prevent us from reaching our real destiny. We'll actually help you navigate through those obstacles to play the bigger game. Now is the time for you to recognize what outcome you want. Visit my website today.
Welcome back to Stop Waiting, Start Living, where we are talking today to Marie, who just shared with us on how she lost her son, and today is his birthday, and Jonathan has been always part of your life.
Always, always, always. We had a really special bond. He had his own spiritual gifts, and I was just waiting for him to figure that out. So the bond's not gone.
No, and it'll always be there because, sometimes I've also often heard, and I don't have children myself, but that probably one of the most biggest losses that anybody can experience is the loss of a child. Would you agree with that?
I would agree. It's not a club you want to be in.
No, not at all.
No.
We're not looking for other people to join. Do you find that you attract, like in your business, other individuals who have experienced that type of tragic loss or any kind of loss that you're able to support?
I do. As a matter of fact, it kind of sometimes takes me by surprise, as many people that have shown up in my life that have been through this. And in the moment, when I went back to work, I remember my corporate job.
Yes.
When I went back to work, about 2 months later, I got a phone call from a coworker in another state. And she was sobbing and said, well, my best friend's son drowned this weekend and I don't know what to say to her. Can you help me talk to her? And in that moment, I took a deep breath because my son had only been gone for a couple of months. And I answered a question. And then I realized, holy cow, okay, is this something that's going to come out of it that's good? Because I always can see what the good is or what the plus is, or I'm one of those people that can look at it and see the benefit to whatever has happened. It might take me a little bit, but I'll get there. So yes, I attract them.
Well, and that's so important for people to know because so many times I think in situations where a tragedy has happened, people are at a loss of words. They don't know what to say. And sometimes they try really hard to want to say the right thing. And as I know about you, it's like really speaking from the heart. Just really be with that person and be in that moment and be able to share with them. And you talked about corporate again. So you've recently, as I know, because I know you've transitioned out of corporate.
I did.
And you're solely doing your own business. So talk a little bit more about what that business is and how you are helping to serve people in this world.
Well, I'm an intuitive, like we've mentioned. And what I didn't realize is that I had so many other spiritual gifts. I have always known things that I couldn't explain. And so what I've done is I've taken that and everything that encompasses, and I went and learned how to do a thing called emotion code and body code. And really that helps me help you let go of all the emotional baggage of the past. And really only one of us, so there are 6 different types of emotions that we trap, and only one of them belongs to you today, as this Julie on the planet today. And the other 5 are things that we're carrying around with us that don't even belong to us, other people and our parents and other lives and all kind of amazing things. But the best part about being an intuitive healer is that when you're in a session with me, I've kind of left emotion code and body code behind, and now we're doing other things, and now you can get special messages and confirmations and validations from loved ones every once in a while we're in our sessions.
Awesome. Are you picking up any kind of emotional code from me right now? Not to put you on the spot, but I know that I find myself intuitive as well. And a lot of times I do listen to those messages, right? I think for most human beings, we all have that sense of intuition, and yet so many times we ignore it.
Correct.
We ignore that whatever is happening in our stomach. And if we just tuned in and listened a little bit more, the questions and the answers are within us, which is what I'm sure you help to extract people. Maybe go through a little bit about your process, like, because sometimes people are like, ooh, intuitive. It's not psychic, people. Sometimes people think that, right?
Psychic, yeah.
But it's one of those things where, like, what does a typical session maybe look like with you so that we can take a little bit of the fear out of it, so people stop waiting and like really connect with you and find out how you can support them?
Well, it's actually really easy and very fun. And you don't even have to talk to me, which is one of the best parts about it. Because I don't
know why they wouldn't want to talk to you.
I know. Well, the best part about it is so many people, there's a stigma, right? They think I'm counseling and they don't want to go to counseling, and especially men, right? Especially men, first responders. I have to be macho. I can't. And so today, women are in touch with their masculine side and they don't want to talk to people. So the beautiful thing is that you don't have to talk to me. You can just come. But my energy encourages you to talk to me, even when you don't think you want to. But when you come, I will actually connect into your subconscious, and it doesn't hurt, and I don't have to touch you, and I can do it from here if I have your permission. It's all permission-based. Now, I can do it without permission, but I don't. That's like I tell people I can read minds, but not really. If you let it out, then it's mine. So I just connect with you and I ask your subconscious, and this is all through intuition, and I just hear the answers. And what I believe is that it's just the Holy Spirit who's connected to both of us, and he just answers my questions. So if I say, I'm Julie, I can connect with you and be Julie, and I just say, are there trapped emotions that we can release today? Can we let go of some of this stuff? And the Holy Spirit will tell me yes or no. And if you're ready, we'll do it. And then I just find them and I let them go. And the beautiful part is that when I'm letting them go, I'm also getting so many beautiful validations, like your grandma might show up, or generations of people might show up, or a bird, or a color, or a building, or something that really means something to you, that when I tell you what has shown up for me, it will validate for you that this is real and we're really doing this and it's really working, and your loved ones are with you all the time.
They are. And I, again, like one of my signs is like getting the overriding goosebumps. Like that's how I know that nothing is by coincidence, right? Like it's all designed for us, and just being open to the possibilities. And I think that that's what you do so well, that I want people to really realize is that you help people through what is possible and what is the best for their life, because you've done it for yourself, right? So how did some of like the intuition or some of the messaging that you received, how has it helped you continue to move forward in your life?
It's a really good question. Sometimes when I'm having doubt, I will ask a question. I ask God or the universe or whatever that higher power for most people, but for me it's God. And I will put the question out there. Okay, I'm kind of struggling. Can you tell me how? Or can you show me this? And I might not know the answer in that moment, but the answer will arrive. It's just for me to ask the question and have faith that the answer is going to show up, and then be listening for the answer when it arrives and be able to translate it. So even sometimes, and it's a conversation, and you might think that you look completely insane having a conversation with yourself, but I do it all the time. And I've learned that sometimes I go, what? I'm sorry, what? You want me to do what? And then I make them clarify, and then I make them make it a little bit easier for me. And so that's how I've made most of these decisions. But when you and I were talking, there was none of that. I was hearing yes, 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 just say yes.
Just say yes.
Just say yes.
And it's funny because I find that I have the best conversations with myself anyway, right? I love to talk to myself.
And I treat myself really well.
Because, you know, who's going to give us the best advice, right?
Right.
Because sometimes I think that that's what happens for so many people, is they're always looking outside of themselves, right? And you're just another tool for somebody's tool belt to help them with guidance and really to be able to help them to figure out those answers within. Because the answers are already there. It's like just you're another vote of confidence for themselves, right? So as we come back in just, you know, a couple of minutes after break, we're just really going to go a little bit more into like messaging and being able to really share with people what your message is for the world. So we'll be right back.
Are you tired of hearing, I love it, but it's not in my budget? I just can't afford it. Let 133 Approved Funding give you the power to offer your clients multiple customer finance options. Have the resources to complete those big jobs and boost your high-end sales. With our simple one-page application, get results and your funding in as little as 2 minutes. Our team of qualified lenders allows you the power to lower your risk without discounting your products. Stop waiting. Visit 133getfunding.com and get started today.
Are you someone that can't take no for an answer? You are not alone. Watch people just like you who've beaten the odds and coming out on top. Check out Tell Me I Can't on Zandra TV.
Welcome back, and we are talking today to Marie Dubois, who is Mystical Marie. Again, what is your website, Marie?
MysticalMarie.com.
That's right, mysticalmarie.com. I love the name. Just talk a little bit about how that came to you as far as, naming your business. Is that your overall business or just your website? Or talk a little bit about the business aspect of what you do.
Well, that is my entire business. That's my business name, not just my website. And the story of how I became Mystical Marie is actually kind of interesting too. I was operating under Marie Dubois Guru because I was a certified essential oils coach at the time, and I was just learning my energy work, and I hadn't really stepped into who I am at that point. And I got a download one day while I was meditating, and that's what I call when the spirit or angels are talking to me. And so they said, you need to be Mystical Marie. And so I was going to a networking meeting, and I started to use the moniker, and all of a sudden it stuck. And I didn't really understand the power of that until I was standing in a parking lot one day, and a complete stranger walked by and said, "Oh my gosh, aren't you Mystical Marie?" And I said, "I guess I am." And I still wasn't really ready for everything that was. And I didn't step into that for another 6 months when I branded myself as Mystical Marie and started talking about myself as Mystical Marie and really embracing everything that I am and every gift that I have, and just letting people see all of that.
And I love it because I think it's one of those things when people refer to me, it's always Julie Jones, right? Because it's that alliteration, if you want to say. And now it's Mystical Marie.
Mystical Marie.
And that makes people remember who you are. Now that you're not memorable as it is, because you do have this energy and this presence that I believe is why people are drawn to you. So when you think overall, like, what may have been some of your challenges? Like, did you face a fear or have to listen to a message when you decided to finally leave corporate once and for all and really just focus in on your business?
Leaving corporate was, well, anyone who knew me knew it was coming for 7 years. And in the end, the decision was made because, well, my son was out of the house, and I had gotten the corporate environment through a tenant improvement, and I was hearing that I would be gone by December. I didn't understand what that meant. And I just knew it was time for me to go out and live for me. I had been living for my children, and then I had been living for my child, and then I was living for my grandchildren, and I was giving my life to everybody else, and I wasn't doing my own thing. And just one day, I just didn't want to do it anymore. I wanted to go out and use my own special powers, my superpowers, to help other people, on a bigger stage.
And I really think that that's a key, is that so many times we're living for everyone else, right? And not to say that family isn't important, and children and grandchildren. I can hardly believe that you're a grandmother. I mean, you look phenomenal,
Oh, thank
girl.
you.
So, but it's one of those things where we're doing everything all the time for everybody else. And it's like, at what point does it come in for us, right? And I think that that's what I really want people to take away from this show, from all the shows, is to stop waiting in your life, which is exactly what you did when you said enough is enough with corporate and moved to your business. And so what do you love most now about your days? Like, what are you passionate about? What do you love doing? Love sharing your message? Talk a little bit about what a typical day is like for you.
I love everything about my life. I love it so much. I don't have an alarm. I just wake up, because every day is a new adventure for me, like the adventures of Julie Jones, right? Every day is a new adventure, and every day he brings someone else to me who might need my services. Whether I'm just sitting having coffee with someone, or whether it's a brand new person who's discovered my website and has booked with me, and we're gonna have a talk, and we're gonna change their lives together, because they're gonna do the work. I'm just gonna be the facilitator, right? So I think I love the freedom. I love the ability to sit with people and really make a difference, and to show them that they're only 1/6 of a hot mess that they think they are, because they're not responsible for all of those things. And my favorite is that they're not their emotions. And I tell people all of the time, you are not angry, you are not sad, you're having feelings of anger and feelings of sadness, and you don't have to own that. That's not your identity. And all of the other stuff we can just work out.
Right. What's on the horizon for you, Marie? Like, what's the future hold? What is like a big dream or something that you're really looking forward to going for and accomplishing?
I have just recently been learning that I'll be an author at some point.
Oh, exciting.
Yes, and I do see myself on the world stage. I'm setting things up so that people can reach me, whether they're in Japan or Australia or in Phoenix or even in Texas. And I see that I'm at events and I'm speaking and I'm reaching so many more people, and I'm traveling to do that when I see that visually. So it's going to be amazing.
Well, and was that one of your big reasons for saying yes to being on television, right? To being on a show so that you can reach a bigger platform. If you had anything from your heart that you wanted to share as a message to the people who are listening to this show, what is it?
Well, I think that there's not enough joy in the world. And I think people don't realize they're not experiencing joy in their lives. They're so busy surviving and on the hamster wheel and all of the things that we do every day between A and B and C and Z and getting up and going to bed, that they're not experiencing joy. And what you have to understand, and they have to understand, is joy is a focus long before it's a feeling. And you have to see that there's baggage in the way that's stopping you from being joyful. But it's just so simple. All you have to do is recognize that there's things in your way and want to be joyful. And it's really that simple. And the other thing I like to tell people is you don't have to wait until a tragedy comes in your life. You don't have to have divorce or lose a child or any of that. You can be happy and joyful today without having to go into the basement of your emotions and really hit rock bottom. So I encourage people to do it today. And I like to say evolve to joy and inspiration.
Right, because we don't want to wait anymore,
We don't
right?
want to wait.
And it's one of those things where when you talk about the joy and everything that you do, it always comes down to being a choice, right? Can be a bad day, a bad moment. And we've talked about this as well. And so I love what you share, and you share from the heart. And, you know, as we're kind of wrapping things up, again, your website is
mysticalmarie.com.
and they can connect with you, and you work with people all around the world,
All around
as
the
you've
world.
just said. And so that's where we're going to go, and we're going to outreach to make this, you know, to make this happen for you. So what is something that maybe nobody knows about you? Something that like you are so passionate about, or that you just want the world to know, this is me, I'm Marie Dubois, and here I am. What is that one thing?
I think the one thing is I have a superpower. My superpower is that when we sit together, I'm going to make you feel like you are the only person on the planet for the time that we get to spend together. And that really serves my servant heart. I like to know that you feel like you matter, that you've been seen, and that I've heard you and I feel you and I'm with you through this whole thing. Doesn't matter.
Now, if you are open to the idea, again, it's Jonathan's birthday today. So is there a special message, because we know he's with us here today, that you would really like to say to him? And maybe it's gratitude or whatever it is for you being here today. What's the message you want to share with him?
I don't know that there's anything I haven't shared with him, but right here in front of God and everybody, I'm going to tell him thank you so much for choosing me as your mom and for everything you've done for us since you've been gone.
Oh my gosh. Well, Marie, I know that as we move forward and that you have so many exciting things that are planned, what is the next step from here? So you're on the television show, you've talked about a book. Does your book have a name to it yet? Or
Not yet, but they'll give it to me.
They'll give it to you.
Yeah.
So that's another step. What's the big major step that you're making here now as you move forward from right here, right now? Where's the next direction that you go?
Well, I am going to study hypnotherapy and past life regression, and it's just one more thing that I can put in my toolbox of resources to help people when they come see me.
And you have the essential oils as well.
I
So
do.
is there any other tools that we didn't talk about that you really want people to know, that they get that ding, 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 ding? Like, I'd really like to have an additional conversation with Marie.
Well, I think even if they're afraid of the process or they're not sure what we're going to talk about, just go to the website and connect with me. And when you show up, the reason you've connected with me will show up with you.
Absolutely, because of your intuitive nature. Marie, it's been such an honor and a pleasure. Thank you so much for being on the show today. You've been a phenomenal guest, and I know that people are going to want to connect with you because you have a heart to serve people.
Thank you.
So this is Julie Jones, and thank you for watching Stop Waiting, Start Living. Remember, your time is now.